Hello friends, it's Coop from Garage Gym Reviews, and today we're doing a best chest supported rack, chest supported row rack attachment.
Take two.
Hey friends, it's Coop from Garage Gym Reviews, and today we are doing the best chest supported row rack attachment. This is the 5th time we've recorded this. Yes, we are doing the best chest supported rack or row attachment. And these are the entrants. These are basically, if you're looking for a seal row pad, a chest supported row, say a seal row, something like that, and you don't want a dedicated bench for it, these are your options. There's a couple more options out there that I'll speak to, but these are the ones that I think you're primarily going to look at. And I'm gonna give you my recommendation on them. I've used, tested, and reviewed all of these. Many of these, actually, 2 of them, we've done individual in-depth reviews on that you can check out, but I wanna bring them all in-house because honestly, I think this is one of the best attachments, this style, that you can buy for your gym, like for your rack. There's just so much you can do with it. They're very useful. They don't take up a ton of space. They also don't cost a lot of money. I think a lot of people could benefit from these. And you could technically use these in place of a bench, an adjustable bench or something like that. So I'm gonna run through them, give you my take. Let's get into it. Okay, before I get started, some of these were sent to us free by the company so we could give an honest, in-depth review. As you'll see, like I'm gonna give you my honest take like I do in every video. Also, if you'd like to purchase any of them, we'll put links below the like button so you can check them out if you'd like to add them to your home gym. The companies will pay us a small commission, doesn't increase the cost you pay, but does allow us to continue hoarding gym equipment. So a chest-supported pad is initially really designed for one thing, and that's for rows. The reality though is you throw these in home gyms and suddenly people start coming up with 1,000,001 ways to use them because they have limited space, limited funds, and they want to increase the versatility of their training. So one of the very fun things about a home gym is you can figure out all different uses for the equipment. And these, some of them in particular, can be very versatile. One of these in particular, the Sorinex Bulldog pad, I've had ever since it came out. It had to be maybe 5 years or so, and I use it every upper body day. Anytime I'm doing upper body, I'm doing something on this pad. So I'm a huge believer in these. I love them. I think they don't take up a lot of space, and they can also be fairly cheap in comparison to many other attachments that are out there. You know, there's a lot of people that have things like lever arms or jammer arms. I think this is a much better purchase for most people than a lever arm or jammer arm. It takes up less space and costs a lot less. But I would guess that fewer people have these than something like jammer arms. So I want to spread the goodness by telling you how good these are, and I'm gonna walk through them, starting with the Bells of Steel Hydra Series chest supported rack attachment. Okay, this really is the budget option is what I'm starting with because I think many of you that are looking for these, looking to build your home gym, you're looking for budget-friendly options oftentimes. And so I'm gonna start with that and then I'll go through and kind of tell you which one I think is the best value and everything like that for home gyms. This one is the budget-friendly version, and this is not the first version that came out. In fact, the very first version of a pad like this, they call this one the Seal Row pad. The really first one was the Sorinex Bulldog pad. It's the first one that came out. I'll talk through its design and implementation and kind of how these have somewhat improved in some realms, other realms have not. But this one is really for the home gym owner that wants the function. Like, I'll just say that from the start. If you're just looking for something where you're just like, I don't care about the form, really what I'm looking for is to do chest supported rows on my rack as cheaply as possible. This is one of the options that are out there. Now there's other ways to do these. Like Rep, for instance, has their utility bench that has a pad on top that we waited years for that thing to come out. They kept teasing it. It finally came out, and that's a way that you can do seal rows. But I really like these because they can angle and be used in different ways. And this one in particular has some unique features that kind of beats any others that are out there, even at any price point. So one is the fact that it has so many adjustment options. This has 7 different holes for adjustment options. The way they adjust is using this pin. By the way, I talked about this in the video. I hate this pin. I hope they update the pin. I think it's kind of sharp. This piece just bends. It's just not a great pin. That said, it is kind of cool they have a custom pin, and this goes in the holes, all 7 different holes, and then locks into the adjustable pad. There's also one on the back, and this goes into the back to adjust into the rack. One thing about this is designed specifically for 5/8 inch holes racks on 3x3 uprights. So if you're using, say, a Rogue Monster light rack, this will work. If you're using a Rep PR4000, although this is designed for a bigger tube at a true 3x3, which is what the Hydra Series racks are, and Reps is a 70mm by 70mm. There will be a little bit of slop on it, but it'll still work fine. There's UHMW all throughout, and they're using a somewhat grippy vinyl on the pad. One of the things that is unique about this, and one thing that I do like about it versus some of the competition in some ways, is the fact that it kind of works like a J-cup. So it has this channel here, you plug the hole in, then you bend it down, and it's locked in. If you want to make it even more locked in to prevent any swaying, you can add this back pin here, and then you're ready to go. Very simple, stores out of the way because you can store it on a cross member or upright, and just works. The really nice thing about all of these, well, particularly the Sorinex Bulldog pad and this one, is the fact that you can use it either facing down or away. So one way that I really like to use these is for rows. That's the way they're really initially designed for, where I'll take a bar for kind of simulating seal rows, bent over rows, or I'll do dumbbells and you can get a really nice stretch, or kettlebells are really nice too because you can get that handle farther away. This works really well for that, but you can also use it facing away from the rack. And so one reason I really like these is there's many home gyms that they have a flat bench, and it may not be worth buying another adjustable bench. Say you're not gonna use it too much, say you really only use dumbbells most of the time, you can turn around and use this or many of these others to do chest press. So you can do chest flies, you can do press. I wouldn't recommend using a barbell because you don't have a way to rack it really, but if you're wanting to use dumbbells, these can be used in that way really well as facing the rack and doing curls. This one is powder coated in the same powder coat Bells of Steel is using on all of their Hydra Series attachments. It's a nice, simple, flat black powder coat. It matches most of the equipment that you'll find out there. The biggest reason I would get this one though is because of the value. One thing though, you have to make sure, if you have a 1-inch hole rack, this one will not work. They have not come out with one yet that will work for a 1-inch hole rack, because I don't think they sell a 1-inch hole rack. They've talked about maybe coming out with one in the future. So I expect in the future they'll have one, but for now, this is really only for people with 5/8 inch hole racks. So one potential use for this, although it's not designed for this, if you use it on the side of an upright instead of the front of the upright, and you have a keyhole rack, say like a Rogue Monster rack or a Titan series rack, this will fit in the keyhole because it kind of slides down if you want to use it in that way. Okay, let's move on to the Rogue Monster Pritchett pad. Okay, this is the Rogue Monster Pritchett pad. They have a Monster and a Monster Light version, so it'll work either for 1-inch hole racks, or if you have a rack more for like what the Hydra is using, they have a Monster Light version. Now we've reviewed in depth this thing on a video, full in depth, so like if you'd like to see that, you can check the playlist that we have linked. But I will say, just to summarize, this is probably the best built out of all of these. Like, this is typical Rogue quality. Like, everything is just extremely high quality. It's made very well. They're using the same seat pad that they use on their premium bench pad. Very dense, but also feels pretty comfortable when you're using it. And also it just doesn't rip because it doesn't have vinyl. They're using 1-inch holes all throughout. Extra gussets, that nice premium MG black powder coat, UHMW plastic everywhere that could possibly touch. And this one is a little bit more unique design than the others because those are designed to use facing towards the rack. This is really designed to be faced away from the rack. This was actually originally designed by Pritchett. He's a world's strongest man. He's also an athlete for Rogue, and he wanted a way to do chest supported rows with a landmine in his rack, and that's what this is designed for. It can do some of the things that those others can do, but really it's designed for using as a chest supported row with a landmine in the rack. So because of that, the chest supported pad is actually off center to allow for the landmine bar to go straight up down the center line. Very smart design. It feels like, just saying this, it feels very comfortable. Feels very good. Like if you've ever used a chest supported row machine in a gym, like if you close your eyes, it feels just as good or better than that. Like you're very solid, very locked in. You can go very heavy, especially if you get nice attachment handles for the landmines. It just works really well. But it works really well for kind of one thing, and that is those. It works for rows with dumbbells, it works for rows with a barbell. You can use it for curls, but because it doesn't have an adjustable angle, it's really designed for one purpose. I did see a lot of people when this came out, they're like, man, I wish it adjusted right here as the other ones do. And I do too, but I get it. They wanted to make something just that was as strong as possible. It was made for somebody who's a world's strongest man competitor, so they're lifting a ton of weight. If you're adding an adjustable component there, it adds complexity and therefore something that could break. This thing is not gonna break. It's just stout. It's very sturdy, very comfortable for the use that you have it for. But the negatives are, it really only has that one angle. When you're looking at it compared to others that are out there, although it feels good, you gotta make sure that's really what you want. The other thing is this thing's just kind of heavy and awkward. In fact, I'm holding it right now because if I let go of it, it's gonna fall. Ah! It's a heavy, awkward piece. It feels really good when it's on the rack, but one thing I've had trouble with, and one reason I haven't added it in my gym, is because I don't know where to put it. I don't know where to store it. I don't leave these attachments on the rack because I'm constantly taking things off and putting them on. I lift in a 3-car garage, and so it's not like an unlimited amount of space, and I've got a lot of equipment in there too. So I'm trying to figure out which pieces I want to use. Usually it's pieces that are very versatile and I can store easily. And although I love the movement with this, it's just like, I don't know where to put it when I'm not using it. In fact, when I was testing it, I literally just slept on the ground in front of the weight plates and I just tripped over all the time because I didn't know where else to put it. So if you're fine or have a place where to put it and you really want to do chest supported rows, I think it's a good value. It's built really well, up to Rogue standards. It's very much in line in price with some of the others that are out there. In fact, it's cheaper than the Sorinex Bulldog pad, but I would only recommend this to people who really want to do heavy chest supported rows with the landmine, because that movement, this thing kills it. But for other movements, I think the other ones are better. Now to the original chest supported row rack attachment design, also the simplest design, also the most expensive. It's funny, it's simplest and most expensive. This is the Sorinex Bulldog pad. I've done a full review on this when this came out. It was one of those items that I feel like everybody in the industry was like, man, why didn't we think of that? Like really, and I think that's why so many companies are coming out with their own, because it's so simple. Like it's just 2 pieces of very thick gauge steel, backer pad, some holes cut, and a bench pad basically. I mean, it's that simple with some hitch pins. Like it's a very simple design that works universally on racks. What I would compare it to is like the Weber kettle. You know, it's like the grill that's been around. It's a very simple circular design. It's been copied 5 billion times, but it just freaking works. You can do it up all you want. You can make them more expensive, insulate them more, but the Weber kettle is just a very simple design that's been around since the dawn of barbecues, that's right. But the question is, have the others replaced it in terms of use? You know, like you've got the Bells of Steel that's both cheaper and also has more adjustments. This has 4 adjustments. That one has 7. 7 is better. It can be used like a J-cup, so it can go on a little bit different ways. So are those superior to this one? No, this is the best. This is still the best. Like, as I said in the early part of the video, this is a product that I use every upper body day. I use it on arms day, I use it on press day, I use it on pull day. Anytime I'm doing something that involves the upper body, which is every day, I use it, dude. Like, this thing just works really well. And in fact, when I bought it, I was like, dang, that thing is expensive for what it is. This is $370 with free shipping. When I bought it, I think maybe it was like $300 with $50 shipping. So the price hasn't increased that much, but I was like, it's so simple. Like you could buy a bench for this, like a good bench, like a legitimate bench for the same price as this. So why would you get this? And then I got it and I was like, yes, it just works. I wish there was a cheaper option, but this thing works so well. The 4 adjustment options, I feel no need for more adjustment options. I can use it parallel if I want to use it for lat pull downs, and I can use it at all different increments. I actually will sometimes use it on this bottom increment for abs. I'll do hanging abs, so I'll hang, pull the upright behind me and do leg raises. I got that from the guy 5 Rings Barbell on Instagram. Killer trunk workout too. So overall, this thing is just built really well. It's built to Sorinex standards. Like if you're looking for one and you want creme de la gym and aren't worried about price, this is still the one. This is the one that I use. There is another option, the Revolt Fitness chest support attachment. We reviewed their belt squad. It was like the cheapest belt squad on the market. I haven't used that one yet, so I can't speak to it. I will say it looks very similar in design to this one. Instead of like having this angle, it's flat, but it's a little bit cheaper. That said, I don't really want to speak on it until I get it in. But I will say the price isn't that much different between this one and that one. And so if I'm looking between those two, without having used that other one, but if I'm looking between these two and I'm looking at like a $50 difference or so, I'm definitely choosing this one. So all this said, if you're on a budget and just want the best budget option, I definitely think that the Bells of Steel Hydro Pad is the best, cheapest option that's out there for the value for your dollar, because it will work well. You can get by if you just don't want to buy any of these, putting your adjustable bench up and doing rows like that. These just feel much better and are more versatile. If you're looking for one that you want to use a landmine with, then I'd say the Pritchett pad, but really I'd say it's either between the Hydra series or this one particularly, if you want to go high or low. If you want to go high, then this one's a little bit better, but also better quality, just works. This is one I use if you just want some for the value. Definitely Bells of Steel. Okay, are there any I missed? Is there any out there that we need to test, review, let me know, bring in-house? We will do it, let me know in the comments. Or are there any of these that you like particularly well that were on the table that you're like, Coop, you missed it? Let me know in the comments. This has been Coop from Garage Gym Reviews. I'll see you next time. Peace.